Okay, everybody, I am going to talk a little bit about the plight of the honeybee. Now, if you follow my channel, if you subscribe to my channel, or if you just maybe bump into my channel once in a while, you'll know that I don't really have one theme for my channel, and I'm keeping kind of to that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the honeybee. Now, I work in an industry with food supplements, organics, non-GMO products, pasture-raised animals, grass-fed animals, that kind of thing. So I know a little bit about all this stuff, but we have, on the way to the, and I'm kind of drinking some tequila tonight. I like tequila once in a while. Anyway, so what I was going to the restroom, and somebody had hung up a flyer, a little pamphlet about the plight of the honeybee. Now, really, when I was growing up in South Dakota, there were tons of honeybee cubes, bricks, whatever you want to call them, everywhere. I mean, every square mile of land, you'd see multiple honeybee pollination stands where bees would have hives and guys would go collect the honey, etc., to pollinate the crops. But you don't see that anymore. And I saw a pamphlet on the plight of the honeybee. Now, bees pollinate a significant majority of the world's food. Most people understand that. If you don't really know what I'm talking about, you might want to look it up. But of the 100 crop species that provide 90% of the world's food, over 70 are pollinated by bees. In North America alone, honeybees pollinate 95 kinds of fruits, including almonds, avocados, cranberries, and apples. So who would think that a honeybee would pollinate almonds? But they do. They're a tremendously important insect. Okay? I've got my dog down here. If you ever get a Doberman, make sure you got time to properly train it. It's unfortunate. Great dog and a smart dog. Oh my gosh, we're working hard to try and train it, but we're just not doing a very good job, unfortunately. But anyway, back to this bee thing. Bees have been disappearing at an incredible rate. Now, when I go back to South Dakota, I don't see any beehives anymore. I'm none. I mean, they just don't exist. They're not around. The mysterious mass death of honeybee populations around the world since 2006 is called colony collapse disorder, CCD. Now, bee colonies affected by CCD can appear healthy prior to the collapse, but suddenly all the adult bees disappear from the colony. Now, it's pretty crazy stuff. They leave behind a box full of honey, pollen, and capped brood, which was larvae. A queen and maybe a few worker bees. Since 2007, USDA data shows that 21 to 33% of honeybee colonies are dying each winter. That there has been a marked increase in summer mortality when bees should be thriving. Now, what do you think's causing all this? Of course, it's not rocket science. This is caused by pesticides and GMOs. Shortly after the EPA approved the use of neonicotinoid insecticides, or neonics, bee colonies began disappearing in the U.S. I mean, disappearing. Insecticides weaken the bee's immune system. Forager bees bring pesticide-laden pollen and nectar back to the hive. 6 months later, the bees fall prey to deadly infections. Now, these neonics also act as a nerve poison. They affect the bees' homing ability, which they need to have, obviously, to get back to the hive. So these neonics are primarily used as an insecticidal seed treatment. Over 90% of GMO corn and canola seed is treated with these systemic pesticides, as well as 50% of GMO soybeans. Now, lots of soybeans are GMO, corn, etc., etc. And it's unfortunate, GMOs, I'm not saying this is the worst thing that ever happened to humanity. I'm just saying that GMOs have caused a lot of problems for a lot of species, including humans. Now, if we lose the honeybees, we are in a lot of trouble. Okay, we are just going to be in a lot of trouble. I know that people are going to say, well, our science will come up with a way to, deal with this, and that might be true. But how sad is that, really? I mean, we can say that we destroyed honeybees. I mean, another species we wiped off the face of the earth. Everything from sea cows to honeybees to carrier pigeons, passenger pigeons, all kinds of stuff that we just wiped freaking out. Whales where there's 50 of them in a pod and they don't know where the rest are. I mean, just crazy shit that we've done to this world. And you got to wonder, in 50 years, what's going to really be the case. And here's the General Mills thing. I wouldn't buy anything from General Mills. Do not trust General Mills. They were forced to label and go non-GMO, but they fought it very, very hard. General Mills is a company all about money, like all these other companies are, and they do not give two shits about your health. They could care less. Trust me.